The soil over my father's coffin hadn't even settled when she pressed an envelope into my hand. Thick, cream-colored stationery, my name written in her familiar handwriting. With numb fingers, I tore it open, still standing at the graveside. Divorce papers. She hadn't even waited for us to leave the cemetery. "Your family fortune is mine now, legally," she murmured, barely moving her lips, her eyes dry as dust. And then she smiled. My sons were behind her. My daughter folded her arms. "We're taking stepdad's last name," she said coldly. "You're dead to us anyway," my youngest added. I looked at each of them in turn and saw nothing of myself in their faces anymore. I gave a single nod, spoke no words, and walked away. From the grave, from the wreckage, from what used to be my life. But storms don't arrive roaring. They gather in silence. 15 years ago, she was my sun. Grace in motion, intelligent, magnetic, breathtaking. She had a way of owning a room and making you feel lucky she noticed you. We built everything side by side. Or so I believed. When my father's stroke struck, I stepped in to manage the estate. Generations of wealth, intricate trusts, vast land, a thriving business. She joined meetings, asked sharp questions, claimed she wanted to learn. Taught her. She learned quickly. But while I spent nights caring for my father, she was sleeping with her trainer. Now her husband. The man my children called Dad. I uncovered her betrayal 2 months before the funeral. A bank alert, strange transfers, offshore whispers. Documents signed in her hand that she had no right to touch. I didn't explode. I observed. Silence is the best cover for a loaded weapon. She thought she'd outplayed me. That her new lawyer, the same man she flirted with at our daughter's birthday, had found a loophole to hand her control of the family trust. They were right about one thing. My father's original will had flaws. But a month before his death, I had already rewritten it with him. Quietly, lawfully, ironclad. She never suspected. For the next week, I smiled at the lawyer she sent my way. Signed every paper she expected me to resist. Let her believe she'd triumphed. Let my children toast champagne with their new dad in the mansion. My father's second estate, transferred to her name just before the funeral. They thought I was finished. But you don't reveal your hand to people who fold at the first bluff. Then I sent my own envelope, hand-delivered. Copy of the real will. My daughter called first, her voice breaking. "How could you keep this from us?" she screamed. I waited, then answered evenly. "You made your choice. Now live with it." My father's true will bypassed the trust entirely, granting me full control over every asset, voiding all joint claims made in his name during his final 6 months, and, through careful legal maneuvering, erasing every property transfer she and her lawyers had slipped through. The mansion, the cars, the stocks, the business shares. All reverted back to the estate. My estate. She fought, but her new husband, the one who had big plans for our company, was the same man who'd falsified documents to rush the property deed. Fraud. He pled guilty to avoid prison. The judge moved swiftly, decisively, fairly. I arranged to meet her at a downtown restaurant. Her favorite. The one we once celebrated anniversaries in. She arrived late, dressed in black as if for a funeral. This time it wasn't mine. "You think this makes you strong," she spat as she sat. "You used your father's death to punish us." I didn't blink. I slid a folder across the table. Photos of her and her new husband. Signing papers they had no right to touch. Surveillance I'd been collecting for months. Dates, times, emails. I didn't open it. She knew exactly what it was. Leaning in, I said, "You buried me alive. But I'm the one holding the shovel." She broke right there in front of the waiter. Face in her hands, makeup streaking, voice cracking as she begged me not to destroy what little she had left. "I have nothing," she whispered. "Understood. That's still more than you left me with." One by one the kids reached out. Apologies. Letters. A 2 a.m. voicemail from my son. I listened but never replied. Forgiveness isn't a debt I owe. Now I live alone, peaceful. A life rebuilt, quiet, deliberate, mine. No illusions. No performances. No mask. Once a month, I visit my father's grave. I stand there and say only one thing. They thought I was gone, Dad. But I was only getting ready. Betrayal shows you who someone truly is. Revenge reminds them who you still are.